Okay, so extended family conference this week is a continuation of pranayama, which means prana is, looking around the room,
Life force.
yes, breath or chi, like chi, life force, energy. And what's ayama? Stretch it out. So pranayama is a breath stretching out, a breath practice. Right, so we've been talking about holding in the prana. How do we hold in the prana? Bandhas, always the answer. Bandhas, bandhas. So we lock in the prana and then we utilize it more efficiently by bringing it to the very edges of the body. So we looked at the diagram. Tamara put it on our conference, in front of conference last week, so you can see where the yogi holds their prana, right? So when we hold it, we're able to move it into the very edges of our being efficiently. And when we're not healthy, we're not able to hold our prana, then it's kind of spilling all over the place or leaking, right? So we don't want that. It's not good. So to be the master of our emotional self, our spiritual self, and our physical self, we want to hold our prana. Used a little bit of an example last week of a master in holding his chi. One of my little heroes is Bruce Lee. Yeah, so we talked about how he holds in the prana and how we do that as Ashtangis the same way. They call it a dantiam, we call it bandhas. So this week in particular, I told you guys we were going to study the vayus. What are the vayus? The winds. So what do the vayus have to do with moving prana?
It's the direction.
Yeah, so vayus are the directions, and as Ashtangis, this is going to help deepen your practice or understand what we're doing in our practice, because, you know, I always told you guys, studying pranayama is one of my favorite things to lecture or to teach about, because we get so obsessed with the asana, doing the asanas, getting them right, and having our bodies look a certain way, and getting flexible and getting strong. But really, we could do that work in the gym to some extent. But what makes yoga unique and different is that it is a breath practice, it is an energy practice, it is a pranic practice, which means you all have to be master breathers. You have to be master chi or pranic practitioners, where we have to learn and get better, get more efficient at moving that energy around. So last week I compared it to windmills. So if you understand a little bit about the vayus, the chakras, we understand that they are wheels, and we're trying to get, like when you see in the desert all those windmills. Remember I was talking about last week, you'll see all those white windmills. Have you guys ever seen those? It's kind of mesmerizing, right? But I'm always fascinated because I'll see one like going really fast, and then the one next to it kind of going like this, and then there'd be a couple of those windmills that are just sitting there. You're like, what's wrong? Right? It's the same for us. What we're trying to do is get the chakras or these wheels spinning by using our breath and moving the prana. And we use the frame of our body and we use the breath to get it to move through the nadis, through the meridians. That is what a yoga practitioner is doing every time we move our bodies in asanas and we breathe in conjunction with that. We're moving these winds to keep us healthy into the edges of the body. So the better breather you are, absolutely the better pranic practitioner. If you have a wimpy breath, if you're holding your breath all the time, you're not going to be able to efficiently move this chi through the body. But also it's how we hold the body. So you know that all day when we're collapsing on our devices like this and driving our cars, this whole area, this whole vayu is collapsed and we cannot efficiently. If you even just try to breathe right now, it's part of degeneration, right? You can't breathe as efficiently. Now pull your shoulders back and widen your chest and breathe. Now you can get more breath through, and you can actually think of the yogi breathing into the very edges of your skin and getting the breath to move in all these directions. So the vayus, then there's 5. We're going to talk about 4 today, and we're going to study specifically 2. This vayu is Udana Vayu, the throat vayu, very important. So every time you guys are doing poses and you're just dropping your head like this, I'm so sad. Well, I'll admit it drives me a little nutty burger. Because one thing is the spine is rounded, you're in flexion rather than extension. But also because there's no good action like we talked about on your devices. You're just in that same hunched position where we can't fully get prana. This is like a dead zone. We're going to talk a little bit more about this next week. I love to talk about the middle upper thoracic. And if you can extend through here, and there's no destination of head to the leg. As a matter of fact, that destination oftentimes works against us rather than for us. But instead, take your pada drishti, your foot gaze, and extend through your throat and see what prana you can move through your throat today. Think about it this way. There's chakras, there's vayus, there's nadis, all this stuff. I want you guys as advanced practitioners to understand how these all work together. So to understand the breath is moving through Udana Vayu is to also understand this is one of our higher chakras. So it's moving up higher in that spiritual evolution or emotional evolution that we want for ourselves without any cognitive therapy or whatever on your mats. Part of it is just breathing and allowing the body to move and release the way we need it to. Sometimes you guys will be here and be like, wow, man, I felt so emotional today. I don't even know why. It could have been that you got more prana into your throat, you know, into this higher chakra. What's this one here? Nobody? What? My students. Prana. So think of this one, Prana Vayu. The heart chakra is Prana Vayu. So we want to get, you guys, every time you do up dog, you have an amazing opportunity to not only open your body up where it's normally closed the other way, but to get more breath and movement through this very important Vayu. And this very important chakra, right? So then from here to here is Samana Vayu. What is Samana Vayu associated with? Digestion, super important. So the more breath we can get moving through this area, it's going to help us digest our food and keep the fire, the agni, really strong is what we're looking for healthy bodies. It's all vayus. We're talking today about anatomy, healthy bodies. So then what's the last one at the very bottom? Apana. Apana Vayu has to do with what? Elimination. So that's today's topic. It's a very fun topic. Elimination. Elimination is incredibly important to keep us vibrant and to keep us healthy. If you guys have ever we've all gone through a period where our elimination wasn't working so well, right? And what happens when that system isn't working very well? Samana Vayu, Udana Vayu is not working very well. How do you feel? How do you feel physically? Heavy, stagnant, sluggish, maybe depressed. Let's get into the emotional stuff then that comes with that. A little bit lethargic. You don't feel very energetic. You don't feel very compassionate. I notice for myself when this part of my physical system isn't doing very well, it's very connected to my emotional being, and I can be kind of peevish. And it's almost like a way for me to, like that we talk about darshana, to see myself, that mirror I hold up to myself and go, why are you so irritable? Like, why is this little thing over here bugging you? You know, why are you so stressed about this thing that normally is not that stressful to me? And sometimes I'm able to sort of assess that situation, realize my process is kind of stuck, you know? So one of the ways that we can get that unstuck is to focus on our breath, focus on moving prana in your yoga practice. So from prana to apana, we say this process helps with elimination. So which direction is the prana going to go? It's riding on the breath. Prana is going to move up. Apana is going to elimination. We're going to push it down. So we're going to move it up. I'm going to push it down. And that's going to help with your physical process as well, but also the emotional process. So today we're going to do a little breath practice at the end. It's, you know how I talk about like yoga's taking medicine, you want to take your good medicine? Well, it's not always the same depending what you need. If you know you need to focus on apana, elimination, you're a little stagnant, you're feeling a little heavy, you've been eating poopy, whatever it is, right? So you could take a little medicine, a little pranayama like this. You're going to take a big inhale for 4 counts. You're going to take a long stretched out exhale for 8 counts. We're going to double the breath, and then we're going to hold for 8 breaths. That's beautiful medicine for apana. That helps us with elimination when you stretch out double time your exhale and then hold a retention that's a double time to the inhale. So you wind up taking a big gulp in, and then you got to eep, stretch, 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 stretch. Tim would say sippy cups, sippy cups, sippy cups, all the way down to hold. The body responds to that. We hold, and then whoosh, we breathe again. So we'll do that at the end of class. What is the other thing that is excellent for the Ashtangi, for the yogi to do to help with the process of elimination within the yoga practice? Bandhas, that's how we're holding it in. Yeah, absolutely. What are the poses that help us the most? Twisting's good. It's the inverted poses. So the inverted poses, we studied this last year, means if the Agni, if we understand that there's a flame, that's part of the vayus, we're switching the direction of the flame. When you're inverted, which direction is the flame going? It's going right. It goes the opposite direction for us. So that's where we can really burn off a lot of the toxins and stuff. So if you guys have ever felt kind of healthy, not healthy, a little bit heavy and lethargic, and you get into your inverted poses, don't you kind of feel like this is good? Or you get to headstand, you feel like, this is good, this is what I need, yeah? That's that process for us. And then what we want to do is not just hang out there and survive it, but get some deep breath and movement of that prana throughout those vayus to get that elimination process working again, that digestion working, that fire really stoked and strong. So today I want you guys to focus on a strong breath, and as we're moving through the asanas and the vinyasas, I also want you to think of how much can you bring that breath into the very edges of your being. I'll remind you today, I want to see a deeper connection to your breath today, a little deeper connection to pranic movement into the full body. So here are your quotes for this week. Of course, we're studying, looking at Bruce Lee as one of our examples. So this was taken from a book written about Bruce Lee by John Little called The Warrior Within, about Bruce Lee's philosophies. To know a little bit about why he's one of my heroes has a lot to do with how he incredibly held his prana and moved throughout his body, but also he had, in my opinion, a very beautiful mind and his way of seeing things from that process too. Chi, or we could say prana, when channeled to our muscles can give us great strength, and when channeled to our brain can give us great insight and understanding. And one of his favorite philosophers from India was Krishnamurti, who said, "In oneself lies the world, and if you know how to look and learn, the door is there, and the key is in your hand."